Okay, first of all, looking back on our game, watching the film, real pleased. Really, with a complete team, real proud of our players defensively. I thought we played with great energy. To hold a team to the rush yards that we did was real impressive. We disrupted the quarterback at times, got to him a few times too. I thought that was really good. Offensively, we were very balanced, the most balanced we've been all year, and it showed. RJ had another good game. Dylan came in and really handled the offense extremely well, made some big-time throws, and we got in a rhythm. So that was a really good win, and now we're set up, to finish this thing strong. So had a good practice last night, playing an Arizona State team that 6-2, really good team. Kenny Dillingham is doing a super job. He's from there. That's his hometown, and his team is playing with his personality. Their defense, I think they're number 25 in the country defensively. They're very good against the run. They'll get after you, and then offensively they have a running back that is one of the best in the entire country. So, it'll be a good test for us. Looking forward to going out west. Questions?
Coach, I know for Dylan Rizk, it was a phenomenal starting debut. It's going to be hard to replicate those stats in the future, but just for a first-time outing, when you watch the film, what stuck out the most? What maybe surprised you, and what were you most impressed with?
Well, Dylan knows the offense. He's been around here the longest. He knows the offense really inside and out, and he really managed everything well. The game slowed down for him, for the first time, out there starting. That was real impressive. Probably the most impressive thing. And he made a couple mistakes early, but he settled down, and he made some good plays in the pass game. Made a couple with his feet too. The big third down when we were backed up with that. But he handled himself extremely well and was very efficient in the passing game.
Gus, you talked about last week after you gave the play calling to Tim Harris, how much you kind of stayed away a little bit, went with the defensive side of things. And what did you see from Tim? And I know he talked a little bit last night about how you gave him some advice, or you gave him some helpful hints here and there as well. But what did you see from him his first time calling a game, and how much it means to him and from he growing up as a high school coach and getting an opportunity to do that?
Yeah, I got a lot of confidence in him, and like I said, he's been around here and been with me a lot. And so, he's been waiting on this moment. And he seized the moment. He did a great job. Had good command of what they were giving us, and and really put our guys in really good situations. So that's just the first, and really excited for him.
Coach, we talked a lot about the goal late in the season is to continue improving. All the good teams do that. Obviously, this team's seen a lot of changes on the field, a lot of changes on the sideline with the coaching staff. What is the big thing that you felt like was cured in the Arizona win, and was this enough of a reset to get a push?
We had changes, and like we said, I mean that sometimes change is good. There was a lot of positive vibes on the sideline, even from the start. And it kind of goes back to both of our coordinators, our relationship guys. Our players believe in both of them and really responded well for both of them, and it carried over, in our game.
What are some play calls that you liked most from Saturday?
The ones that worked. That's what I liked most, probably, yeah.
With Addison Williams taking a step back to begin the season and being able to observe and watch, and then now getting into the defensive coordinator role, do you find like a newfound confidence in him being able to grow?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing with Addison, I mean, that was a learning experience for him last year, and then we brought in some veteran guys, some very talented guys, and then the guys that have been here, they have a lot of confidence in him, and it was good for him to sit back and see things from a different light, I believe, and the guys played extremely hard for him. It didn't surprise me at all, and he did a really good job, managing the game as it went.
You mentioned Kenny Dillingham just a minute ago. How do you describe his personality and what you're seeing on film from Arizona State that reflects it?
Yeah, he has. First of all, he has a dynamic personality, and he's an extremely hard worker. He was a smart guy. The year he was with me, he helped me out a whole lot. He knows football. He can relate to players. He's got all the attributes to being a really good coach. So it doesn't surprise me at all that he's got that thing going like he does, and he got some good coaching staff around him. David Gibbs is a guy that's off the field guy that is out there with him too, obviously, that's been with us. So there's some familiarity.
Coach, you said the goal moving forward is to make a bowl game. Does that satisfy the expectations coming into the season?
It is what it is right now. I mean, obviously, we didn't foresee it going exactly like it is, but what we can do is control what is ahead of us. And we're real happy with the way we've played and the way our guys responded to a tough 5-game stretch. And now we're trying to finish it. And, it's one game at a time. That's the way we're approaching it. We're playing a 6-2 team on the road in our conference. I think everybody knows in this conference is a lot of teams that are good teams, and you got to play well to win. So we're taking one game at a time, and our goal is to make a bowl game, and to do that, we got to play good football.
Dylan obviously had a great debut last week. What are the challenges now when preparing him for his first road game going up, like you said, against a very good Arizona State team?
I think a road game, I think you just said it. I mean, I think that's the big thing. At home it's a different deal. It was quiet. He could articulate the things, and, on the road it's going to be loud. And, Dillingham has that place where, it's going to be loud, and those people are going to show up, and, we're going to have to handle the noise. And that'll be the biggest challenge, I think, for a new starter.
What's it like to have young guys like Chasen Johnson stepping into the starting lineup back-to-back weeks?
Yeah, I mean, he's been a guy that he had a great spring, first of all, and you could tell that his skill set, and then he's, done a really good job for us. We got a lot of confidence in him right now, and he's playing at a high level for a true freshman.
Coach, to have the game you guys had over the weekend, how can you use that kind of performance to make a resurgence going into these last few games in this season?
Yeah, well, the good thing is we played our best overall game, and like I said, we made some changes. It really gave our players some new life. I know you get a chance to talk to some of our players, and they can speak on it probably a little bit further, but, we got a little new energy, and we got 3 games left, and, we got to finish it one game at a time.
The teams you've played from out west, when they've come here, they've left a day early just because of the travel and the time changer stuff. You're going out west.
Yeah.
Is there anything different you do? Do you go early? Do you stay overnight?
Yeah, no, the good thing for us, we'll keep our normal routine. Obviously, it's a long flight. That's probably the biggest difference. But we have an off week, next week. So it's not like we got to rush back in routine and all that. So we'll keep the same plan. We'll have to leave a little earlier and all that and have a long flight. But we'll try to stay on schedule the best we can.
And I wanted to ask about S.J. Tui is moving on. He's meant a great deal to this program. I know he was part of your inaugural staff, your first chief of staff, and did a lot with the Kingdom. Just what was his impact these last few years?
Yeah, S.J. was one of the more important people, if not the most important person since I've been here. Not just setting our program up when he was the chief of staff, the right-hand man, but what he did with our collective starting from scratch is unbelievable. And he laid a foundation for the future. I can't say enough good things about him. I mean, he's in the AD world now, and he'll be an AD and a big shot before long. And, I'm real proud of him and, really proud of the person he is.
Gus, RJ had another big performance on Saturday night. Is there anything he does that doesn't impress you anymore? I mean, based on what he's been able to do this season.
Yeah, he's impressive. And what I appreciate about him is the way he prepares, the way he practices. I mean, it doesn't matter if we went through the 5-game losing streak or a game like he comes and brings his A game every day in practice. And I think he's one of the big reasons why the other guys hadn't let up. And we got some other leaders that have set the tone too. But, he didn't say much. But when he does, people listen. He spoke to our team when we were at the hotel before the game. And it resonated with a lot of the guys.
Coach, you mentioned that you love play calling and it was hard giving it up. But do you think giving it up has allowed you to concentrate and have better control overall of the team?
Like I said, I think the big thing as a leader, you got to do what's best for your team. This day and time, I mean, the job description of a head coach, like I said, the last year, maybe year and a half, is like accelerated. It's almost like a different, I'm not going to say a different profession, but it is so much more. And so I just evaluate everything, and that was best for our team. And obviously Tim sees the moment. It was really good for me to be with the defense more and with Coach Addy more during the transition and all that. And so, that sometimes you just do what's best for your team. That's what I felt strong about doing.
Do you feel like you're able to apply more discipline, being able to be on all parts of the team now?
Well, I think more of being on top of things is probably the best way to put it. Having a better feel for everything that goes with it, and not, in the film room worried about 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1.
What stands out to you about Arizona State's running back Cam Scatterbout and the challenge that he presents defenses?
You got to gang tackling. That's what stands. He breaks tackles. They did a really good job last week, scheming up, throwing it to him, and getting him in situations in the pass. But he's a dynamic player. It really starts with him.
Coach, was the playbook completely open for Dylan? And if not, does it excite you that he can probably take on more after what you saw?
Yeah, so he knows the offense. He's been here for a little over 2 years, so he knows the ins and outs. And, Tim could call anything, and he has a good understanding of the whole thing. And, I think that showed. I mean, there was some new wrinkles, some new plays and all that. And so, yeah, he can execute the whole playbook.
He mentioned during his press conference the other night his preparedness, Dylan. What stood out to you about just the way he's absorbed information over the course of the year and a half that he's been here?
Yeah, like I said, he's had a lot of reps. He understands the passing game extremely well with protections and everything goes with it. RPO game, he does a really good job with understanding, his reads and really everything that goes with it. And it just carried over. I mean, it was what he did for the first start. I mean, it was really hats off to him. I mean, it was really a phenomenal effort. He played with great effort. He played with great toughness. He blocked on a guy. Now, we got to help him. We don't want him to block, guys. Moving forward, unless it's for the game. But I just love, he's playing it like it's a Super Bowl. I mean, and that's who he is. And, real proud of him. He sees the moment, and he's a great example for all the other younger guys that we have on our team about just seizing the moment when the opportunity presents itself.
Coach, your next 2 games are away. I know you got the bye week in between, but how do you help your players prepare for all that travel?
Yeah, I think the big thing, like we said earlier, is going to be the noise more than anything, being on the road with a quarterback that hadn't started on the road. As far as this, this time in the year, you just about have your routine when you travel. And so it's not like a shock to your system. The only difference is the 5-hour flight, but, our guys they'll handle that okay.
We know how big Kobe is in the pass game, but I believe 7 different players caught passes on Saturday. How important is it to begin to spread the ball around and find kind of secondary receivers to help out?
I think when we spread the ball around, because you saw earlier in the season teams would double Kobe and all that, and the fact that we're getting more guys involved, it helps everything. And not only does it help everything, it helps the run game too. It all kind of works together.
Speaking of that, Jacoby obviously was trying to get his confidence back early in the season after an injury last year. 200-yard games back-to-back. What's he been to this team?
Yeah, he's playing with a lot of confidence right now. And you've seen it probably the last half of the season in practice, his confidence, and getting everything that goes with it, more familiar with the offense. And then, when he's got the ball, he sees the moment, and he's tough to handle after the catch. I mean, I think you can see that, but couldn't be more happy for him. He's a wonderful human being, and he's waited his time, and he sees the moment.
Coach, we never got to ask you. A couple weeks ago, former player Kevin Call released a letter to you saying he had some problems with your chief of staff, Ross Newton. Do you have any response to that?
Yeah, I've only kicked off one person since I've been here, and that was because of an arrest. All right, we wish him nothing but the best.
Coach, offense and defense both had strong games. Special teams, wanted to hear your evaluation of them. Gave up 3 50-yard punts, 3 inside the 20 there. Want to know how you felt about the special teams performance.
We've got to catch the ball. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing, the hidden yards right there. And I think the big one for me was the ball was down there on the 5-yard line, and they flipped the field. I mean, the wind was blowing a little bit, but we got to back up. We got to put him in better position with that. They pinned the ball down on the 1. That was kind of a tough one. It was kind of raining, and the guy kicked it, and that was a tough one. But the one that, we had on the 5-yard line, the hidden yards right there, that was disappointing with that. But we got to help him out. We got to move him back when the wind's blowing.
Gus, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I mean, how much of getting that win, breaking that losing streak, how much of a relief did you notice in the locker room and maybe in practice with some of the players? I mean, to be able to put that behind them now and kind of turn the focus.
Yeah, I mean, just, the guys have hung in there, and just to see the smile on their faces in the locker room and to play a good, clean football game, I mean, that was a great feeling and great to see.
Yeah, can I ask real quick about Coach Dillingham? Because he was with you. I know you just answered an earlier question, but he's with you in 2019. I know he'd been with Mike Norvell. I know he was a young guy at that point. He's still a young head coach. But when he was with you for that year, did you see future head coach in Kenny Dillingham?
Yeah, he got a special thing about him. I went to visit Mike when he was a head coach at Memphis and spent time and watched practice and got a chance to meet him there. And you could just tell that he has a dynamic personality, and it really made a positive impression on me. And then, obviously when got a chance to hire him as OC, that had a lot to do with it. And then Mike's confidence in him, and so I got a chance to spend a year with him, and he helped out a lot. Obviously we had a good year, Bo Nix's freshman year, and he did a good job. So it doesn't surprise me at all. He's a young guy, but he doesn't act young. I mean, he's got a gift.
All right, thanks everybody. Thanks, Coach. All right, Jacoby, you're coming off 2 outstanding games here at UCF. I know it's kind of been a process for you. You weren't playing as much early in the season. I know you're coming off an injury too. So just what was was it exhilarating? Just kind of talk us through what it means to you to kind of put together these performances kind of later on in your last year.
First of all, I just want to say I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be standing here doing this right now. And it kind of was unreal, but at the same time, I could foresee it. I believe in, like I said, Jesus Christ, and he's a God of miracles. He's going to make things happen. So it's been a crazy, moment, crazy experience, but I'm definitely blessed.
Jacoby, how confident are you, I guess, right now? I mean, you've had back-to-back great games. I mean, that confidence keeps building. I mean, how much does that help you as you think of the next three or four games?
Yeah, I mean, for me specifically, like my foundation is in Christ. So, I always have had confidence in myself. Obviously, getting more adjusted to the offense and the schemes and everything like that has definitely allowed me to be able to play faster. I really feel like that's what's been the biggest thing for me, but I'm definitely confident.
Jacoby, you talk about faith. Dylan mentioned having a lot of faith in you and you guys' chemistry. That last touchdown might be arguably the most accurate pass he had in the game there. With that in mind, he mentioned in postgame something along the lines of, if I see Jacoby, I'm going to throw it there for the one-on-one. How did you guys build that kind of chemistry? Are there any cool stories you've been coming through that kind of talked about this is what locked us in as a duo?
Yeah, I mean, that's my brother in Christ, and I really just feel like, from just over the summertime and fall camp and stuff like that, I wasn't with the ones at first. I was with the twos, and, me and Dylan would kind of, develop the chemistry in practice. So that's carried along, a long ways. And, I'm very proud of him. I'm ecstatic for him. I'm happy for him because, he's been waiting his time. He's been being patient. So anytime you see a guy like that, get an opportunity and seize the opportunity, it's a great feeling.
UCF has settled in on Dylan Risk now. What's the challenge been like for you working with so many different quarterbacks over these 8 games?
Honestly, I have trust in all of those guys, up to the point where, it's about me. I have to go out there and make sure that I'm available for them because if I don't get open, they can't throw it to me. So, the main focus is me, and I trust them to get the ball, wherever I need it to be.
What did you see about Dylan's confidence coming in as his first game starting? And how did he command the offense?
I mean, he was poised. It wasn't a moment in the game where I felt like, something was, it didn't go our way, that, our head was, we was panicky or anything like that. And I feel like that's a testament to who he is as a person. Like I said, him having that foundation in Christ, that's the biggest thing. And you can see it with the way that he walks, the way that he talks, the way that he, he does everything. So, I'm extremely happy for him, and, it's just great for him.
What's been the progression for you, both from a physical standpoint through fall camp and getting back to 100%, after your leg injury last year, and then also in the preparation and understanding kind of the playbook and what's being asked of you in this offense?
Just one step at a time. I feel like oftentimes, we try to overcomplicate things and try to make it seem like it's something bigger than what it is. But, everything is a progression. You got to handle everything one step at a time. So, when I came in, the main focus was, learn the playbook, run routes on air, get more confident as time goes on, and just trusting the process.
We saw Dylan get downfield and throw a block. What does that mean for you to see your quarterback do that and show that he's not afraid to get dirty?
You got that dog in him.
Jacoby, it's one thing to have a dominant performance as a team as a whole. It's a whole other thing to have that performance snapping a 5-game losing streak. What does that do for the team going into these last couple of games, and how is the locker room doing right now?
Yeah, I think the thing that I like the most about this team is our demeanor and our approach. I feel like even when we was, going through the 5-game losing streak, we attacked every practice like it was going to be our last. So it's definitely going to help out the team morale. But, regardless, we're going to fight and we're going to continue the battle so we can, finish out this season on a good note.
With Coach Harris taking over play calls, what's it mean to have that guy in your room, obviously as the wide receiver coach as well?
Yeah, I think, obviously the more time that you spend with a guy, the more that you would, want that guy to be successful. So, seeing him step up, we already knew that he was ready to, go out there and, call plays and do what he does. And I think also it also just helps us out a lot because, he's always telling us about how much he believes in us and the faith that he has in us. And, he just got to know it's the same for him. So anytime we go out there and, it's a ball in the air, it's just a little bit more attention to detail, a little bit more focus. So it's helping us out a lot.
Getting ready to go on the road with Dylan for the first time as a starter. What do you, as the receiver group, need to do to make his life easier to help him kind of handle playing in a hostile environment?
Just letting them know that we trust them. We're behind them 100% and get open. Be available for them.
Jacoby, there's been obviously a lot of changes on the field amongst the coaches, just a lot of movement, a lot of whirlwind. Yourself among those changes. Matter of fact, you had this latest game, these latest 2 games, I should say. What do you think has been the biggest challenge? What do you overcome to see all those changes and then come out and have the best offensive performance of the season?
I think just staying ready. I mean, it's a lot of adversity and a lot of things that you have to, experience during the season. You never know what shape or what form they're going to come in, but you got to be ready, which is why I feel like fall camp, just touching back on that, that's probably the most stressful, the hardest time of the year, especially in football regards. And it allows us to be able to be poised and to be ready at any moment for any changes so we can go out there and perform at a high level. What stands out to you about Arizona State defensively? They're a good team, but I mainly just feel like the focus has always been us. We got to be ready. Our preparation is going to allow us to be able to go out there and, play our best game.
Jacoby, I know the season didn't go according to plan. I know you guys had aspirations to compete for a conference championship, but now you've got another goal that's in sight. If you finish strong, it's reaching a bowl game. How much more confidence do you guys have after this past week? The defense did their thing. You guys put up 600 yards. Is that kind of, is that really rejuvenating? Does that give you a lot of confidence going into this final stretch where you're gonna have to win a road game here? Yeah, I mean, I think anything in the season that's positive, you got to grab a hold onto and kind of use it as momentum. So, going out there for the Space U game, uniforms are awesome, by the way. And being able to, go out there and put on a show for the fans, that's invigorating. So we just focusing on the positive and also looking ahead at what we can do. We have a great opportunity ahead of us to go play a 6-2 Arizona State team, and on the road, like you said, it's a whole bunch of things that can make this difficult, but the main thing is the main thing. We focus on us, go down there, go get us a win, come back to Orlando, and we'll be fine.
I'm asking a non-UCF question. Curtis Rourke was a teammate of yours at Ohio, and he's leading Indiana to an undefeated season right now. So what's that been like to watch from afar?
I love it. I mean, to say, you know, the things that he's been through, you know, his story is awesome too. He had a season-ending injury also in Ohio. So to see him bounce back from that and to be going to Indiana and the things that he's been able to do. Also, my dog, 2 Miles Cross, he actually transferred over to Indiana with him. And seeing some of the things that they've been able to do together, it's amazing. And it brings a good feeling to my heart just to see, because I know how hard that he works. He's a brother in Christ also. So to see him be able to excel on a high level, it's not surprising to me because I seen it every day at practice. But it's definitely a great feeling. I'm so proud of them. Yes, sir.
Coach Addy was your defensive coordinator last year, so I mean it wasn't a huge change, but it was a shakeup this past week. Him taking over the defensive coordinator duties, Ted Roof moving on. So what was the week of practice like before you got to the Space game, and what was it like when you got out there and actually had that kind of big time performance?
Definitely the week of practice, we spent it kind of just going back to like an Addy type practice, just really focusing on small details and just playing free. And I mean, it showed up on Saturday.
How did the guys just kind of respond to the news? I mean, I know it wasn't like a huge change because Addy was your defensive coordinator a year ago, but how did the guys respond to that?
I mean, everybody definitely, like we were shocked, definitely. But I mean, we love Addy, Coach Addy's, and we just rallied behind him. And all our faith is in Coach Addy, and then, we went out there and dominated.
Ricky, did you guys notice a change in Coach Addy? I mean, he's been around the program, obviously, but from last year being a defensive coordinator to this game, did you notice, did he do anything a little differently maybe, or there's maybe a little a different change in how he was doing things?
Definitely, he has a chip on his shoulder, from coming off of last year to, this year, getting the job, last week. I mean, we definitely saw the chip on his shoulder, and it was a tough week of practice, and then we went out and we dominated the game.
Did that fire you guys up?
100%.
I mean, for all the changes you're talking about dealing with Coach Addison, there's been some stuff on the field too lately. The past few weeks, Dalen Dotson's gotten more involved, getting kicked outside more to his natural position on the edge. How helpful has he been? We talked about you facing a guy one-on-one across from you when they're tired. How helpful is it to have him to make sure your target can't escape now when you're getting in there?
Dalen Dotson is a dog. I said that last week, but I'm gonna say it again. He's a dog. I mean, and like you say, he moved back to DN and he's disruptive. He's everywhere on the field, and I mean, having him out there keeps the quarterback in the pocket better. And I mean, I've benefited from it.
When you said the teams played more freely, what changed to allow that?
Just the play calling, just letting the D-line go. I mean, yeah.
Arizona State has a very high-powered offense, strong, one of the best running backs in college football. So how do you guys plan to what have you seen from their offense?
Well, we've been watching some of their film today. Definitely have a strong goal line. They're big up front, but then they got a running back that just makes everything go. He's explosive, and if you don't tackle him, he'll make you pay.
So you got the space you pull on. Your stats and the record that UCF's produced in space games kind of speaks for itself. But is there kind of a feeling you guys have during those games in that week, and how would you kind of describe the way that those games have played out over the years?
I mean, for me, I personally approach every game the same. I don't make a different game too big than whatever it is, but I mean, we just space game. We always want to win the space game. I don't know why that is, but let's keep it up.
I know last year a lot of the D-line said they had more freedom under Coach Addison to do what they want. What did that freedom help you with this week?
It helped us really just get to the quarterback. We had, 4 sacks? Yeah, we were just able to get to the quarterback, just do the play calling.
Just kind of building on that over the last 3-4 weeks, you guys have been getting to the quarterback a lot more, getting more pressures, getting more sacks. What has clicked on that front to get there? I know a lot was made with Coach Roof about blitzing more and trying to get more pressure, but what's clicked to finally kind of get home in that category?
Just truly putting faith in the D-line, just knowing that we can get there, and just really making an emphasis in practice to, if we not gonna blitz as much, y'all got to get there. And I mean, we've been doing it.
Ricky, Coach said that there wouldn't be too many drastic changes made, even with the change at coordinator, but what would you say is the biggest difference that you notice between Coach Roof and Coach Addison?
I think the biggest change is just Coach Addy's approach to practice definitely is the biggest change for us. Like I said, he really focuses on the smaller details of everything, and just knowing that like if we're messing up practice, like that's not gonna it's not gonna fly in games, and like really just like honing in on the small things and we repping until we get it right.
And then I also wanted to ask, I saw, after some of those sacks that you guys made, you were jumping up and celebrating with the coaches. What did that feel like to finally, play well on defense?
It was a great feeling. I mean, statistically on paper, we're supposed to be one of the better, defenses in the nation. Honestly, to me, and just really going out there and showing that it felt good.
Ricky, with the performance you and the team had over the weekend, how can y'all use that kind of going into these last 3 games, still with the bowl game kind of ahead, and kind of get that resurgence of this UCF team?
We using it just to really just get that funk get the funk my tongue keeps twisting. Get the funk off of us. There we go. I was struggling, but yeah, I mean, the 5-game losing streak is finally snapped. We just use this as momentum just to go into next week and just build off of it.
Ricky, you mentioned what we've been talking about, freedom for the D-lines had, yet it seemed like you had the gaps better protected. It was more discipline up front as a result. Does that speak to, you guys' experience, intelligence? We talk about freedom, yet you were more disciplined. How did that happen?
That's a great question. It's just, truly just play calling. I mean, he puts us in positions to just, go play within the defense and, be dogs and, just let them go. And that's what we did.
I know it was a tough, 5-game stretch there, but when you have a game like that in which both sides played so well, offense and defense complemented each other, how much more confidence do you guys have now? How much is that better, in the locker room and practice, knowing that when you guys, do it, that you're capable of doing it?
I feel like personally, I know that I've always had confidence in the offense, and most of the team, we've always trusted in each other. We were just waiting, for us to go out there and play a complete game, and it finally showed up.
In the film that you've watched of Arizona State, what stood out about Cam Scatabo, the way he's been able to break tackles in particular, and how do you try to avoid the same fate Oklahoma State faced this past week?
You just gotta wrap up and tackle, and honestly, you gotta get all hats to the ball because one man can't tackle him. You need all hats.
Ricky, you had a lot of the sacks you guys had came on 3rd downs. How gratifying is that too, to get a sack when it really stalls their offense and makes them force them to punt?
There's a big time plays on 3rd down, and it just goes back to practice. Like Coach Malzahn, he spent a lot of time with us on defense this week, and just really emphasizing on 3rd down. We probably spent more time in 3rd down than we did have all season.
What's it like having Coach Malzahn on he spent a lot more time with you guys on defense. What's it like having him on the defensive side, kind of coaching you guys up a little?
It's pretty cool. It's another eye. Coach Malzahn, he's been in college football forever. He's a genius. So just bringing his knowledge to our side of the ball really helps us too.
What was your vantage point on the Hail Mary throw at the end of the first half?
I love Randy, man. That was a big time play. That should be like ESPN. They still do that, ESPN, the top plays. That should be number 1. He caught the ball 5 people.
Big for number 5s everywhere.
Come on now.
Anything else for Ricky? All right, good stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ricky. Appreciate it.